Welcome to episode 1 of season 1 of a brand new My Team journey on a brand new Formula 1 game. F1 23 is out today. As you see this, as I'm recording this, thanks to the EA Creator Network, as you see in the bottom corner, I'm recording this a few days ahead of time so I can get content stockpiled and ready to go for this brand new season. Of course, if you're unfamiliar with what My Team is as a career mode, we take the 10 official teams in F1 and we add our own. We own the team, we drive in the team, we get to decide on the overalls, the livery of the car, select our engine supplier, our sponsors, and of course our second driver as well. We'll set all that up in the process of this first episode, but we will be hitting the track today as well, out at Bahrain for the first round of the Formula 1 World Championship, where hopefully we can have a good start. However, we will be starting as a newcomer team, so we'll be right at the back and having to work our way forward through the course of a full career to make ourselves, hopefully, eventual challengers for the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships. If you're looking forward to this save, then do drop the video a like. I'd very much appreciate it. It massively helps the channel and the content. And of course, make sure you're subscribed to this ChesnoidPlays channel and you won't miss a single episode. I stream it live as well on the Chesnoid Gaming Twitch channel. There's a link in the description to that if you'd like to see all of the behind the scenes. And of course there will be a lot of behind the scenes because we do 100% race distance here on the Chesnoid Gaming Twitch and Plays YouTube channel. We love a bit of 100% F1 and that's what we'll be doing once more. So I'm going to go through with you now to create our team and all the behind the scenes of that aspect of it, and then we'll hit the track. Are you ready? Engines on, away we go. With regards my helmet and overall design, I've actually just slightly tweaked the ones that it gives you initially, because we tend to have amber and gold and black style liveries and colour schemes, and well, that looks quite good in amber, black and gold. So we've done the same with the helmet as well. And now, once we've created our guy, obviously named after myself, driver number 28, it's time to create how the team is going to look. Chesnoid Racing name donned, of course, as ever. And now we need to pick a sponsor. Now, of course, the signing bonus is important at this stage of the season because it helps fund your engine supplier and your second driver. However, the weekly income that you gain will be more helpful throughout the course of the season to improve your facilities and driver perks, etc., and afford contracts, of course, when renewals come around for second drivers. And the gold bonus will help at the end of the season to, of course, boost our opportunities to improve between years. So I have to make the correct decision here, both in the short term and the long. Now, with it being a 23 race season, I think the chance, even starting as a back marker, of getting some points by the end of the season is hopefully quite high. Now, with a slightly less goal bonus, but a slightly more weekly income, I think I'm going to go with Monet Paris, and that will be our title sponsor for this year because I have ambitions of having a Mercedes power unit. We do have, for the first time in a My Team save for me, faults turned on. However, I would like to avoid as many faults as we possibly can, and the best way to do that is to have a reliable power unit. So durability at its maximum is my priority over initial engine performance. So the Mercedes engine, of course, third in terms of power and performance, but first in terms of durability, and that's what takes the biscuit for me. Now then, signing a teammate is important too, because they too will earn resource points to help us improve the team and the facilities. So I need to make sure I make the right decision here as well. Now, I know we can't afford Felipe Dragovic, so we need to make a decision slightly further down. Although I'm actually not going too far down, because Ayumu Iwasa is going to be the man that I choose. He's got less experience. He's not quite as good with his racecraft, but his overall pace is good. And just having that inherent talent and pace is important. Racecraft and awareness we can build upon throughout the course of the season. So I am going to go with Iwasa. We are ready as a team. Now all we need is a car. And this is going to be the livery for our first season. Sponsors we will add in due course, But with the yellow and black theme and a hint of gold in there as well, I think that's going to be a really decent starting point for us for this first year. Of course, we can maybe do one-off liveries throughout the course of the season. You can change your livery at any point, and of course we will update it every single season as we go through as well, and run different liveries throughout the course of the year. But for Season 1, this is your Chesnoid racing machine. And with the branding done as well, slightly deeper ambery orange yellow for the emblem, with of course the Chesnoid Racing R front and centre. We are pretty much there. This is our brand new headquarters here, looking shiny and resplendent on the edge of the lake. And of course our brand new car hidden under wraps. Now Natalie Pinkham is available in-game this year as a presenter. Well, unfortunately, Natalie, I can't talk to you all day. We've got some driving to do. It's time to hop on the plane and head to Bahrain. I wasn't planning on rhyming, but there you go. And we do have 1,000 resource points available to us immediately here. So it's time to hopefully improve the car right from the off. Now the aero doesn't have any improvements to it whatsoever, but the chassis does have something, as does the powertrain. You can see from the performance index that we are just better than AlphaTauri supposedly. However, you can tell from the development potential in the bottom of that chart that our current performance is not great in the chassis and aero departments compared to durability and powertrain. So we will focus on chassis and we will focus on aero in the early stages of the season. And with just 1,000 points to go on, having a lighter car is always going to help. 40% chance of failure though at this early stage with not quite so good facilities, which hopefully will improve as time goes by. And then as soon as I have some extra resource points available to me, once we've started advancing, we'll add to the aero side of the car as well. But we might be able to get some extra cash or resource points, or in general praise the morale of some of our departments to help that part get through initially. Now I try not to decline morale in any department at any point. I'll try and just boost it everywhere if I can. Driving trainer camp is going to be important though. We will get 250 resource points for that as well, which will be very important. And even though it will cost us 50... Actually, we don't have 50 grand to spend at the moment, so I can't do that one. Let's do the pre-season driver press tour, get some driver XP. I tell you what, no. Let's just sell some merchandise, get some money coming in through the doors. Then we can actually start to buy stuff, can't we? Pre-season merchandise sales assured. Thank you very much for buying your caps and your jackets and your shirts. I appreciate it very much. It means I can now go and upgrade my car and start to financially support the team as well. Now that is going to take quite a while for the rear downforce, but it's going to be important to have a stable rear of the car in the early stages. And as we've advanced, AlphaTauri have actually, as you see there, overtaken us in the performance index. So as we arrive at Bahrain, we will be officially the worst car on the grid. Now I can go and customize my livery at any point, and what I do need to do is add my primary sponsor to the car. So I will look to do that now. What I also would like to do is spend some of my current balance on some driver perks. Now initially I'm not worried about driver acclaim, I'm not worried about engine wear. What I am worried about is getting as many resource points as possible, as soon as possible. So we will spend some money there and boost those by 10% over the next few Grand Prix. That will significantly help us in the longer term. Team and driver acclaim is going to be important to help the financial situation of the car and the team, but hopefully we can do something in this first Grand Prix weekend. I'll go and add the sponsors on, and then the next time you see me, I'll be on track.
Okay, mate, it's Mark here. I just want to say thanks for trusting me as your race engineer. I know we're going to have a good relationship. It's going to be a long season. They're always tough. But if we work together, we can get some solid, good results. The car's ready to go, but it's brand new, so we're going to figure out any teething issues. We've got our eye on the data. You just do what you do behind the wheel.
I'll try and do what I do behind the wheel. There is a fantastic tutorial system in the game, so thankfully, as a veteran player, I don't need it. But if you guys are new to the franchise, then absolutely you'll be able to take advantage of that as you move through. If you're unfamiliar with my team, the way we improve our car is by earning resource points and then using those to, of course, improve various aspects of the car. The way you earn those resource points is through the practice programs. I won't bore you by showing you them too much throughout the course of the season, but here in this first race weekend, we'll have tyre management, track acclimatization, and race strategy. And by the time we're done with all of those, hopefully, we'll have as many resource points as we could possibly hope to earn, and then we can take that back to the factory when we finish this Grand Prix weekend, and fingers crossed we'll have a car that's improving in the not too distant future. Setup wise, there are some slight tweaks from the way that the setups worked on 22 here in 23. So what I'm using is a slightly modified F1 22 setup for 23, and hopefully it'll translate quite well between games. If you guys are setup whizzes, then please do come and join me on stream, because I'd very much like your input when it comes to setups in this early stage of the year. But hopefully, the way we've got the car set up here custom will be quick enough to help us be at least competitive in the back marker section of the grid. We're not expecting to get points in any of the earlier races, unless, of course, there's absolute chaos on the grid and throughout the course of the Grand Prix. But finishing as high as possible is always the aim. All practice programs run and development points added. Development feedback bonus of plus 67. And we've got now 1,422 resource points. We're getting some developmental boosts. Gives a little bit of a discount when we get there as well, which is fantastic. We'll advance now. And driver and team acclaim getting a nice boost as well. Iwasa starting at driver level 6. I'm only, of course, starting at driver level 1, but the team is on its way. Now, how competitive, genuinely, are we? Or more accurately, are we not? Time for our first ever qualifying session as a team. Okay, around the last corner then, and in Q1, we are putting in our first lap in anger. 33.523, I think that read. I could just about see it on my screen in the cockpit on the wheel, and 17th is where we are in Q1. Not a great position, obviously, but as our first ever session, considering on the performance index we are dead last, to be not dead last in quali isn't bad at all, and only knocked out of qualifying by half a tenth to Zhou Guanyu, both Hassers behind us. Iwasa put in a 133.842, so I'm about 3 tenths faster than my teammate, my rookie teammate. Technically, I'm a rookie, but obviously having plus 20 years worth of F1 game experience, not that rookie anymore. So I'm relatively okay with that, actually. Here's the grid then. It's a Ferrari 1-2. Charles Leclerc with a 131.3 is very fast indeed. Carlos Sainz just, well, less than 200ths behind him. So Ferrari lock out the front row. Sergio Perez and Russell, then Verstappen and Hamilton. The Mercedes seemingly quite competitive at this stage. Alonso and Esteban Ocon as the Aston Martins and Alpines are about the same. Norris doing well in that McLaren, to be fair. Albon qualifying particularly well in the Williams as well in 13th. And it'll be me in P17 with K-Mag behind, Nico Hulkenberg, Iwasa, my teammate, Sargent, and Nick De Vries. Right, time to talk strategy. So a mixture of strategies on display so far at the beginning of the Grand Prix. The majority on mediums or softs. You've got Zhou Guanyu on mediums alongside me. Everyone else on a set of soft tyres. And then Sergio Perez driving the hard tyre as far as he possibly can. It does recommend for me that the fastest way for me to get to the end is a medium, is a soft medium. I'd be sorely tempted if more drivers around me were also on the mediums to start on the medium, but because I'm surrounded by soft tyre drivers, it's probably best for me to be on the same sort of tyres as they are, so as I don't get left behind by a DRS train. So we'll go soft first. I may well put that medium stint in the middle, depending on how the race is going, and then run softs again at the end, potentially. But I'm going to need probably as much fuel as I can get in the car, considering it's the first race. We expect to be quite fuel inefficient. But we'll start with that starting strategy. And initially, 1 lap's worth of extra fuel, although in these early stages, we expect to be lapped almost every single race. So actually, that's technically probably about 2 laps worth of extra fuel in there. So we should be good. on most fronts. Now it's just a case of, are we good on race pace? Quali was all right, but can we replicate that, or maybe even improve, perhaps, now that we're at Grand Prix time? Okay, tyres suitably warmed. Tyre temp parameters are a little bit higher this year than they were last year, so what may initially look like quite warm tyres from just a formation that actually isn't that bad. So you imagine that Zhou Guanyu will probably be one of the slower drivers in... There we go. Perfect parking. One of the slower drivers in the opening stages, considering he's the only one on mediums around us. But we'll wait and see how he does. We'll wait and see how we do. And here we go for our first ever Formula 1 Grand Prix. And Zhou is a little bit slow off the line as we basically match the McLaren in front of us. Had to get out of the way of Alex Albon there, who is falling backwards here. Slamming the brakes on for turn 1, trying to be as careful as possible so as not to pick up any damage. We'll be wary of people maybe cutting across through turn 2, but we've actually gotten lucky there with a handful of drivers getting out of position. Verstappen down to P14. He started P4 or 5? 5, I think. Max Verstappen's had a terrible first lap. Well, certainly then some faster cars behind us that we expect to come through. But a very good start from us. Stuck on the curve there a little bit. P17 start to P13 halfway round lap 1, but already Max Verstappen is having a look at the back of me. Zhou Guanyu's followed me up as well. So he's actually done quite well from that early stage. And somehow, Max Verstappen has ended up down in P14. That is a mystery. Tsunoda, we've got a little bit of a slipstream on the AlphaTauri. That is, of course, the car that is right next to us in the performance index. I think they've got the edge on me in straight line speed because I'm running a little bit more wing, but I'm still not quite as stable in the high and medium speed as I might like to be, and evidently nowhere near as fast as a Red Bull, but that's no surprise to anyone at this stage. Running P14 then as we end lap 1. Haven't actually used any of my battery yet, so that might actually help me down the straights. And DRS will be enabled at the end of the next lap, of course. We are running amongst some medium runners, and again, I've got a bit of a run on Max on those medium tyres, but you can see the soft runners are disappearing out in front, but I'm not going to just throw it up the middle of Verstappen for no reason whatsoever. My battle today isn't with him. I don't want to lose time battling with Verstappen and lose that group in front. I am slightly concerned about Lando Norris behind as well, but wait and see how things pan out. 57 laps, it's a long race. Let's not take any risks early doors that might cause us problems long term. Right, George Russell just set the fastest lap. He's leapt to the front of the grid, front of the train actually, on those soft tyres. You can see from the mini-map in the bottom left that he is flying away now. Now, obviously that will perhaps see him fall further back later in the race when he's running a harder compounds to those that have started on mediums or hards behind him, but George is making moves in these early stages. I'm still with Verstappen here, but wasn't quite within DRS range through the detection point last lap. Max, I imagine, will start to make some moves sooner rather than later, although he is definitely getting held up a little bit by the slower runners in front of him. And that's only going to help me stick with all of these guys in front. Who knows how the race is going to pan out from here. Lando's been able to open up a gap to Zhou Guanyu in 16th, but he is now hot on my tail. And you'll notice the gaps in front are increasing as other drivers use DRS on those in front of them. There is a bit of a train forming, but at the minute we are well in the mix. Just out of DRS range again at the end of the straight. I definitely have a lower top end, lower top speed than a number of the cars in front, which is meaning that I'm going to perhaps have to use a bit of battery towards the end of the straight to ensure that I can stay within DRS range for that second DRS section down to turn 4. But at the minute, as long as I avoid the curbs like that, we are competitive enough for my liking at this stage. Lando is definitely very interested in the back of me. I'll just use a bit of battery to try and get myself in DRS range here before the detection point, which I didn't quite do, and as a result I've late braked myself, out-braked myself, and I've run wide trying to push to try and get DRS. So I'm going to use battery now to try and stay ahead of Lando, but he's going to have the inside line into turn 11, and by trying to push too hard and overdriving the car, I've cost myself a position. Hopefully that's not a mistake we will repeat later in our Grand Prix. Sparks flying off the bottom of the McLaren. hopefully we can stay with him now. Should be a bit easier to stay with him than it is the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. Max is actually making a move on Yuki Tsunoda in front now. Lando is without DRS here, so we will close in on him and are doing so. Do I go for a late lunge? I'm actually not going to, not yet. A little bit too far behind. Max still battling hard with Yuki Tsunoda, struggling to get the power down out of the real slow turns in this car. Not sure whether that's this car specific or game specific with the new handling that they've introduced this year, but it's certainly something that I've noticed in my gameplay so far, and we'll wait and see how you guys react when you get your hands on the game. Well, today, as you see this on YouTube, Lando's making a move in front. Lando's going for it on Yuki. Still very much a train in front of us. So even though we are slightly falling back on those in front, we're still very much in touch with a big group as a whole. Lando going very aggressive on Yuki here. Now the medium runners starting to take advantage of their extra tyre life as the soft runners start to lose some tyre performance, and Lando is past Yuki-ish, just as Max was a moment ago, and there you go, swooping round in front of the AlphaTauri. Yuki outperforming the quality of that car, just as we apparently seem to be so far. The teammate is not last though, still running ahead of Logan Sargent and Nick De Vries, so quite happy with the performance of both cars at this stage. And we're back within DRS of those cars in front, which is good news. Someone's thinking of having a look. He's not going to into turn one. He is right up my back bottom though. That Williams is slippery in a straight line, has a lot of straight line speed, but at the minute we are hanging on to Yuki Tsunoda as best we can, and those on the medium tyres that are in faster cars in front of him are getting away. Although Lando actually is now right behind his teammate Oscar Piastri, who's also running soft tyres like myself and Yuki and most of the others around us actually, and he's starting to fall back as well. So the soft tyres definitely losing their best at the minute. Trying to avoid as much wheel spin as I can out of the slow turns is really a learning curve with the new handling model, something I haven't fully adjusted to yet, but of course we'll, with more race time and experience, get better with. Still waiting for lap 18 to change these tyres, currently at 20 to 23% wear. I might be forced to go soft, medium, medium at this rate because my tyre wear is quite high compared to... Whoa, my tyre wear is quite high compared to the expectation for the Grand Prix, unless we can take these tyres quite away. But we're going to go for it. Lando's having a look at his teammate in front. That mistake from me around turn 13 has cost me some time, but hopefully it's time we can make up again. Alex Albon's having a look at the end of the straight. I did use quite a bit of battery there to try and stay ahead, but he's going to get me. We'll tuck him behind. And really I'm struggling with my rears now. No problems with temperatures though. Temperatures are absolutely fine at least, so that's a concern from 22 that isn't a concern on 23 for me so far. So I don't mind getting overtaken by Alex Albon, that's fine. We've got a comfortable gap behind.
Okay, clear.
There was a yellow flag behind me, and it's an Alfa Romeo that is retiring from the Grand Prix. Our first retirement, I believe. Unless he spun. No, he's off and running again. So let's see what happened behind then to that Alfa Romeo. Is it Zhou? It is Zhou, and he's just dropped it. He straight up dropped it on the exit of turn 4. Round he goes, and that's him right at the very back now. He's significantly slowed up in front. I'm not entirely too sure why, but there is an Aston Martin at the head of this gaggle. I think it might just be people have been battling, trying to get past each other, and it's slowed everybody up, which in favour has helped me. My rear tyres are really complaining now. You can see how I'm struggling to stick with around the medium and high speed turns, because as they get the power down, I am not able to do it in quite such an effective manner. But as long as I can stay within DRS of Alex Albon, we're absolutely fine for now, and we're doing that for sure. Pit stop 1 is at present 8 laps away, although I may try and undercut a little bit to get an advantage on the group in front.
Okay, you're losing a small amount of time to the car behind. Let's keep pushing.
Oscar Piastri and Tsunoda are now having a bit of a battle. Oscar is dropping back quite heavily at the minute. DRS down the main straight, wasn't quite able to keep that for the second DRS zone. But yeah, Oscar is struggling right now. I'm not sure if he's got damage or what, but he is going slowly around the turns. You know, I'm pretty sure no concerns about fuel whatsoever at the moment. So actually, we're quite, well, thus far anyway, we've been quite good with fuel efficiency, which is refreshing. So I'm used to previous games having a real trouble with fuel management in the early stages of my team, but actually this Mercedes engine is pretty good at managing its fuel levels, which is good. Which means we should be able to underfuel the car a little bit at some Grand Prix, which will make the car lighter, which inherently makes the car faster, which, considering with our chassis and aero being in relatively poor standards comparatively to our rivals, just being a little bit lighter will make a big difference for us. Lap 13 currently. That first stop is not far away now. Yellow flag in front. I think a Ferrari's retiring or has spun.
Caution.
We're about to pass them. They must have spun because they're back up and running again. Tell you what, I know I've been struggling with some of my rear traction, but to see other drivers doing so as well is quite remarkable, actually. I didn't think that sort of thing was going to be happening around turn 11. Occasionally you see it, and saw it last year at turn 4, just like Zhou did earlier in the Grand Prix, but for someone to spin at turn 11 is quite strange, actually. I'm going to use a lot of battery on this lap, and I'm going to try
Your teammate behind is 11.9 seconds.
Box a lap early and go to those mediums and try and undercut some of those in front. Piastri's definitely having troubles because he is been overtaken by Tsunoda and now Alex Albon, and I'll try and get him myself for the end of the lap, but I don't think that's going to happen. We're going to box this lap 17 for another set of tyres, so we are going to pit early, a lap early. There is an Aston Martin in the garage actually already, so I'm not the only one to dip on lap 17. And we're slow enough, so I imagine Stroll is going out on another set of softs. We'll find out in due course. No, he's switching to mediums. That's key information, because I too am doing exactly that. So maybe Lance has been a bit heavier on his tyres than he thought he was going to be. How fast is the pit stop?
Okay, there seems to have been a problem attaching the right rear wheel.
No.
We need to try and put that behind us, and let's finish this race strong.
My first ever pit stop is atrocious. Gents, there goes any hint of an undercut. Thank you very much.
To stop once now.
We win and lose together as a team, but that is frustrating. Everybody else then pitting this lap. Our fuel is actually going up, so I can considerably underfuel the car moving forward. That is something I was never really able to do in a my team prior to that. Piastri's gone to hards. Iwasa is in, and we're going to overtake him. We're going to take Logan Sargent as well, and you can see Kevin Magnussen coming out of the pits in front of me. So he's come out on another set of softs, so there are loads of different strategies at play here then. Piastri must just be really struggling with tyre wear perhaps, and that's why he's gone to a hard set. I don't know.
So the car ahead's come in and fitted the soft tyre.
Now running P20 after the first round of pit stops, so that slow pit stop has cost us a couple of positions. In fact, more positions than I care to even figure out, actually. That's quite annoying. Although maybe there are more cars to pit yet. If K-Mag's been in, that means his teammate hasn't, so we may yet make some more time up. But with K-Mag on softs, the funny thing, he's just going to disappear down the road to us. But with Piastri on hards, he might actually be a bit vulnerable now. He will presumably be doing one pit stop less in the Grand Prix now, and he's maybe going soft hard to the end. That would be quite a stretch. I'm not sure what McLaren are doing there. My fastest lap of the race though, 1:36.7. Here comes Alex Albon out the pits. Now he's gone to mediums as well. So he's running a similar strategy to us at this stage. McLaren to the hards is such a peculiar decision. And Hulkenberg has come out behind us. So despite a 5-odd second pit stop, we've actually gained time on Nico Hulkenberg. Currently now we're running P18
here's
then.
the gap that we're trailing the car ahead by. 1.7 seconds.
So Guan Yu in the pits at the minute. So we are coming out ahead of the Alfa Romeo as well, although obviously he had that spin earlier, so that's not too much of a surprise.
That's 17th place, you've moved up into P17.
We're back up to where we originally qualified. So I guess as long as we haven't gone backwards in this first Grand Prix, that's not too much of a concern. These early few races of a My Team save are just about figuring out where you are as a car and as a team, and the first couple of races when first starting a new game as well, it's just figuring out how competitive you are as a driver and how to adjust to the changes they've made to the gameplay. This is my first race that isn't 5 laps long since getting the game early. Piastri is definitely dropping back though, as you can see. The gap to him has halved since we came out the pits. So he's surely going to the end, Piastri, on those tyres. And in DRS of those in front, we are closing on that gaggle, and there is quite a few within that gaggle. Our race might be coming to us slightly, and this is obviously hurting K-Mag as well. Running soft tyres stuck behind a hard tyre runner. And going for it into the final turn, in fact, which is quite peculiar. Surely K-Mag would be better served just waiting, biding his time until the DRS straight, but he wanted to get it done as soon as possible. So frustrated is he behind the McLaren. Fastest lap of the race for me personally, and there you go. That is Haas past McLaren. And use some battery to get right behind Piastri for the DRS zone. Oh, snuck up the inside. They broke slightly earlier than I expected them to there, and we've shot past Piastri and actually got DRS off the back of him just before we made the overtake. So we're up to P16, now trying to close in on Alexander Albon in front on mediums, but he's stuck behind Yuki Tsunoda, and Yuki's stuck behind Valtteri Bottas, I believe that is, in an Alfa Romeo. And what tyres he's on, I'm not sure, but if he's on hards as well, then they... Now he's on softs. No, okay, so it's doing it the other way around than previous years. Previous years it would show you the tyre you started on and then the tyre you went to. Now it's working the other way, so it's tyre you started on, and then on the left-hand side is the tyre you've gone to now. So a number of drivers in front are actually on hard tyres here. I wonder if they're going to stop again.
0.8 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Their tyres are 5 laps old. We think they've got one more stop.
Yeah, they're stopping again.
Lap was a 1:38.3.
So tyre wear is so high here for some teams that they're being forced to run the hard tyre for a stint. This is very peculiar. I thought my tyre wear was high, and to be fair, it was, but some other teams are struggling even more so than we are. I was a little bit concerned when my tyre wear was as high as it was that might be an issue for us season long. But if we're not struggling as bad as some teams, then we're actually going to be more competitive in that area than, thankfully, I feared we might be.
And the time last lap was a 1 minute
Albon's going for it in front.
36.2. Okay, you're dropping back by around 2 tenths each
he's not
lap.
able to get the job done. And I've got DRS on the back of K-Mag from using my battery down that penultimate straight, and it is getting tasty in front now between a number of drivers. Magnussen was frustrated enough already earlier in the Grand Prix, and now Alex Albon is getting frustrated behind hard runners as well. And this is ruining both of their races at the minute, especially K-Mag, who's lost all positive running on that soft tyre. And the hard runners still have another stop, so we may well end up, provided I can be as competitive as possible, still with a finish that is higher than we qualified, which is always a positive as far as I'm concerned. DRS range of Alex Albon even, let alone just K-Mag in front. It's definitely a different driving style to 22. Really need to make sure the car is straight, or as straight as possible, before putting the power down. Otherwise you are just going to lose your tyres. I'm going to struggle with that in the first few races, I think, but once I adjust to it, hopefully I'll be a little bit more competitive personally, let alone the car and team as a result. Everyone's still having a look at Yuki and just can't get past the AlphaTauri. A minute. Yuki defending for his life. It's earning Valtteri Bottas a little bit of a reprieve in front, but They're going to have to make moves soon, otherwise I'm going to get involved, and I definitely want to make moves, because otherwise my race is going to get slightly tainted and potentially ruined as well. We need to see off these hard tyre runners, please, Alex. Let's get past Sharpish. Come on now. We've got a bit of a run on Kevin Magnussen here. He's just got a little bit more on me down the straight, but I'll use a bit of battery. I'll go up the inside into turn 11. We'll try... Kevin, come on now, mate. I was there, and he looked like he wanted to turn in on me. Please don't do that to me, Kevin. You're gonna do yourself and myself some damage. Nico Hulkenberg, his Haas teammate, has closed up behind as well on Piastri now. So at least one Haas has been able to utilise its soft tyres quite well. But these hard runners are just lacking all sorts of pace at the moment. Although, obviously, as our tyres, our medium tyres start to wear, their hard tyres will start to come into their own. I'm not sure what they're going to go to next. Esteban Ocon is in the pits now, as is Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris. So, some of those soft runners that started at the very beginning, well, they just run a medium set 28 laps. Some of the front runners were on mediums, weren't they? Yeah, they've run a medium set. They've run a medium set 28 laps. So that says to me that I can take my mediums significantly longer than currently we're expected to, and I can go to softs at the end, hopefully, rather than having to go soft, medium, medium. I might well be able to go soft, medium, soft. And they're one-stopping, look. They're going from mediums to hards. They are one-stopping behind. So they now don't have another stop to make, whereas we do. At least 3, if not 4 different tyre strategies at play here today. This is really intriguing. Who knows where anyone will finish at the moment. We are close to the points here, actually. Yuki Tsunoda, just there down the road, is actually now running in P10. Still they're going for it in front. And still Yuki holds on. He's defending like an absolute god at the minute. I think Alex might just have him here, though. Still Yuki holds on around the outside. Go on, Yuki-san! Albon with the inside line now. Surely that's him past. Still Yuki holds on! Oh my god! What a battle for the final World Championship point this is turning out to be. And it's a battle that I'm about to join. Now, Yuki should have, depending on who got better traction in that turn, the inside line into turn 10. And if they want to make a mistake or hit each other, like they just have, then that'll suit me down to the ground. Battery, DRS, that's Yuki dealt with, and Albon doesn't have DRS. They've cost themselves...
2 cars in one go.
Yes, 2 cars in one go. Let's go. Albon's still on the outside of me. We've gotten him. We're into the points for the very first time as a Chesnoid Racing driver, and that was superb.
Okay, so the gap to the car ahead.
Let's chase those hard runners now. Alex is going to go for me. I'm going to go defensive, and he's going to just blitz past, but that's fine because that gives me DRS down the next part of the track. So I might try and get the power down, which we've done really well, and getting back into turn 4. You can see the air coming off the rear wing there. The vortices really showing themselves. That's something I've never noticed before in a previous F1 game. Alex Albon is fighting me just as hard as he fought Tsunoda, but he's not going to win this one. We hold on to P10 at the minute. Can't really afford to fight too much more. We need to try and close in on Valtteri Bottas, who was right at the front of this train, and the Alfa Romeo who's just disappeared into the distance because Alex Albon and Yuki Tsunoda were fighting so hard. 5 seconds Bottas has disappeared by now. Come back here, Valtteri! Alex Albon's having a go. He's having a look. And he's through. Just couldn't shake him. But equally, he's not going to be able to shake me. On the outside, maybe. He's going to go slow on the apex, really slow on the apex. Oh, I got a little bit too hasty with my throttle pedal, though. Not worried about Yuki. No, we're okay. Let's get ourselves back up to Alex. We've definitely got the same pace as Alex Albon.
Okay, some information on Norris. They've got an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
Well, that's good news. Lando's behind us, actually, as it stands. He's in this train behind. Which I think was actually training behind me, but we're just as fast as Alex Albon in front, so we're all kind of training regardless of who's at the front of it, it was the hard runners, and they're just clinging on now because of their DRS. Now the medium runners are trying to get away. Charles Leclerc behind is coming through now on Yuki Tsunoda, and Alex Albon is retiring right in front of us. Alex Albon's engine has gone, and I don't know where he's going, but he's getting in the bloody way is what he's doing. Alex Albon out of the race, and that has saved us a position. Our first retirement from this my team is Alexander Albon in his Williams that's gone pop on lap 35 of 57 here in the Bahrain Grand Prix. I have a very hungry looking Ferrari sat right in my mirrors. I don't think I'm going to be in the points for long, lads. I'll tell you that much. Charles Leclerc having a look around the outside of me at turn 10. That's not going to work, son, but maybe he's just trying to get a better run onto the straight. I'm not sure. The DRS on him is keeping Tsunoda and co behind in touch. But I expect to be overtaken by Charles Leclerc very, very soon indeed. And then, hopefully, I can hang on to the back of him a little bit. And then pull on Tsunoda and co, because we all have a pit stop left, and I'll be worried that they're going to go onto the soft tyre, whereas I may well have to go onto the mediums. And then I'll be slower at the end, but if they're going onto the mediums next, that would suit me down to the ground.
Focus. We need to stay on form.
It's fine. No, right. Stay in Leclerc's DRS, pull away from Tsunoda behind.
You're going to be on softs.
I'm not going to go to softs yet. I'm going to try and extend this current stint. Valtteri Bottas in the pits from those hard tyres is going to presumably mediums, or is he going to another set of hards? I'm not sure. He's dropped out of range now. Gasly's in the pits as well. He's gone to mediums too. Now he was I'll start that again, shall I? He was also running the hard tyres, so I presume that Valtteri Bottas is doing the same. There's a number of drivers, in fact, in the pits behind me, and Bottas is also going soft, hard, medium. So I might still pit. I'm going to have a tyre advantage on them if I can keep this set of mediums going. But if you remember what happened when we pit last time, our brand new mediums were so much faster than the worn softs. I'd be worried if I do hang out on this set of mediums that if I do change to softs at the end, they'll be so much faster than me come the very end of the Grand Prix, because my softs will go off so quickly that they'll catch me. So I might still pit
The car behind's just boxed for
40 for a set of mediums. So we've done 20 laps on this set now, and they're pretty much done, these mediums. I could extend them if I wanted to, but I'm only losing time in the process. So if I pit now, well, I may be in a few laps' time, and hope that Bottas gets caught up in traffic, etc. So the minute he's not, frustratingly, we'd be able to extend a bit and then still have fresher tyres at the end. If I can cling on to the back of Gasly for a bit, that would help, certainly, but I think he's going to have DRS here. It's gone deep there a little bit, but
tyre condition still looking good.
yeah, they're okay. They're not the best, 40% on the rears, but they're okay, and Gasly is indeed
Push now.
with DRS here, but we'll have DRS through the next part of the lap, so that's not a problem at all. Now it's a case of, can we extend these mediums far enough to go to softs at the end? Or am I going to run another set of mediums? Depends how well I can stick to the back of Gasly, but I will use battery to try and do so. I just want to try and stay in his DRS and get pulled along, which is proving to be easier said than done, because now he's 1.5 seconds away from me, and Pierre Gasly is disappearing into the distance. So what do I do? Do I pit now for mediums, or do I hang it out for a set of softs? I am really unsure at this moment. I might hang it out for a set of softs, but still pit lap 40 and just try and run those soft tyres the same length my first set went, and hope that I'm fast enough at the end, or can defend well enough at the end with battery. I think that's the plan. We will go to softs on lap 40. Stroll in the pits in front, although I think he's coming out now. Ocon is now past Norris and closing in on me here.
20.6 seconds.
Stroll is right there, in fact. He's gone to hards. I'm torn at the minute between whether to go to softs and try and blitz past some people and then hang on, or go to a fresh set of mediums and just have a tyre advantage till the end of the Grand Prix. As it stands, I'll come out 18th. If I can, I think I'll go to softs, but only if I believe I can come out in fresh air and really make the most of them. So it said I'll come out in P18. I'll have a look on the race director and see where P18 actually would be. Oh, too eager to get on the throttle there. Where is P18 right now? P18 is Nico Hulkenberg. Now, some behind are getting lapped now as well. Hulkenberg is the one behind Piastri right now, so we'll have a look on the next straight. Piastri. Okay, so then they're not a threat of getting lapped at the moment. Do we come out there and then just try and blitz it on softs? That's a lot of time to try and make up. Oh, no! Well, I'll tell you what, let's risk it for a biscuit. Why not? Race 1, we're not going to be getting any points, so let's just try and do some overtaking. We'll box this lap for a set of softs and take them 17 laps, which is the same as our first stint, and try and get them as far as possible. And overtake as many people as possible in the process too. Currently running P9, but that's not going to be the case for long. So we're going to drop down to P18 as it stands, and then hell for leather to the end. Now, quicker pit stop this time, please. Zhou Guanyu's coming in behind me as well. I'd be intrigued to see what he's going to, actually. Much better stop, 2.5 seconds.
That was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting.
Is, question mark, going to soft. So he's doing the same as me. That validates my decision a little bit then. And when it said we were going to come out right behind Nico Hulkenberg, I also saw how far. Turns out it's right behind Nico Hulkenberg. So we are now 17th, which is where we initially qualified, and we've got a soft tyre on. So we'll take Nico in not too much time at all, and then it's a case of can we close down on Piastri and Kevin Magnussen, and maybe Valtteri Bottas as well. But we're going to have to make the most of these soft tyres in this first part of the stint. Already within DRS by the end of lap 41. Purple sector 3 in fact as well.
Okay, so we're leading
this might just be crazy enough to work, you know.
0.3 seconds.
Up the inside of Nico Hulkenberg. Run wide, but hopefully we can get better traction. He's turned into me a little bit there, Nico. But we're past him.
Okay, gap to the car ahead is 4.6 seconds.
Right, 4.6. 4.6 to Piastri. Let's close that down. Crucially, he doesn't have DRS on anyone in front of him, so we should just have a tyre advantage, and that tyre advantage alone will be the deciding factor in who's faster. Purple sector 1. And the gap to Piastri is tumbling. Lewis just put in a 33.8. My fastest lap so far is a 34.2, and if I'm purple in sector 1, and that still says purple, so that must be faster than Lewis was in sector 1. I don't really know where this pace is coming from, but I'll take it. Maybe I must be the only one on soft tyres, perhaps? Yes. Oh no, Zhou. Myself and Zhou. We're the only two on soft tyres. So it's Lewis on mediums or hards versus me on softs. Obviously, I won't get a fastest lap point because I'm nowhere near the points, but if I can take a fastest lap, that'd be sick. I don't think I'll get it, mind. How are we in sector 2? Personal best only. Well, let's use some battery then, see if we can't maybe get a fastest lap of the race. It's only going to help me close on Piastri as well, which is a side effect and bonus. We are significantly closing on Piastri. 33.8 to get, and fastest lap of the race. 1:33.666. Hashtag hail Satan. Right, now I need to gain some battery back. Hi, Oscar. Hello. How are you, my friend? Not here. But into turn 4. Surely, if I can just get a good run on him. I haven't really been able to do, actually. Still trying to save battery a little bit. I could try and do to him what I did to Hulkenberg. We'll have a look. Put it side by side, give him some racing room. We've got better traction on the softer compound, and we are through to P15. Past Oscar Piastri in his McLaren. Now, K-Mag in his Haas up next. Max Verstappen takes my fastest lap. You bastard! That's DRS on Kevin. P14 right in front of us. Just trying to make as much time as I can before my tyres start to go off, because then we'll be falling backwards just as fast as we've come forward, I think. Should hopefully be able to stick with K-Mag through this final sector and then get him down either the main straight or into turn 4. I think we've made a couple of other moves more recently in this Grand Prix. Seems to be my favoured spot, actually, turn 4 rather than turn 1. And George Russell is out of the race, retiring from what I think was the lead. No, retiring from P5. Now, what's happened to George? Let's have a look back. Oh, he wasn't in the lead, but he was ahead of the Ferrari. George Russell, it's not an engine blow-up, but it is a mechanical failure of some description. And actually, George was running P2. George was running P2 and has retired. Now, it's a little bit concerning that the 2 retirements we've had for mechanical failure in this race have both had Mercedes engines, which is obviously what we've got as well. So it's a little bit concerning considering we have faults turned on. But hopefully we'll be okay. It'll be another position for us. We probably would have finished ahead of Albon anyway, but certainly we weren't going to finish ahead of George Russell. So our final position might look a little bit more lofty than initially it was going to, but only by 1 place. Will K-Mag go defensive? Yes, he will. And we will swoop as best we can around the outside and have better traction and take P14 off him. That was a nice move. That P14 will soon be P13 as George Russell is off the track there to the left-hand side, and we've made another position. Thank you, George. We've made up so much time on this set of soft tyres that we've nearly caught Esteban Ocon back up. Now, obviously, these tyres, as you can see there, are starting to tell me that they're getting past their best. And we will start to fall back again. But to have made that much time up on a soft tyre, nearly a full pit stop, is quite surprising, actually. Gives me promise for the rest of the season that maybe, provided we can upgrade the car adequately enough, we might be able to challenge for some points by the end of the season. We are going to fall back, certainly, and I'm expecting that start, or the beginning of that fallback, to actually start around about this lap or next lap, really. So we may still end up behind Piastri, but if I can finish in P15 ahead of Nico Hulkenberg, then that would be, I think, a good race for us on first outing. I'll be very happy with that. I've not been so fast that you think, oh, you should really put the difficulty up. I've not been so slow that you think, you should really put the difficulty down a little bit. We've been fast enough to have some fun and slow enough to get a relatively realistic race position and require a little bit of work to try and finish slightly higher up than we currently are. So I'm actually very happy with this first Grand Prix. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Do drop the video a like if you have. Like I say, we're going to get this to you as regularly as we possibly can here on the second channel. And of course, we'll be streaming it on Twitch as regularly as possible as well. So do head on over and follow me on Twitch too. It'd be great to have you. We're closing in on 85,000 followers on Twitch. So it'd be, in fact, it might even be 90,000. Yeah, we're at 87,125 as I record this. Let's see where we are in a couple of months' time, shall we? I'd love to get closer to 90 if we can. Hopefully you guys will be part of that gang. She's still slightly closing the gap in front. I think it's more because they're fighting than it is I'm actually driving at any real pace. The gaps behind are stabilised now.
Okay, that's Tsunoda just ahead. Come on, push hard. Okay, the gap is less than a second. They're on old mediums. Time last lap was a 1 minute 36.1, and you're closing by 0.4 a lap. Keep it going.
Hi, Yuki. That drop-off point hasn't come yet. That might be us past Yuki Tsunoda. It is us past Yuki Tsunoda. This is tyre compound specific at the minute, not car pace specific. But by driving as best as I could, we've been able to work a slightly more competitive tyre strategy, and that's working in our favour. But I certainly don't expect to be able to do this at every track. There will come tracks where we have more tyre wear than other drivers and end up having to do what everyone else has done compared to ourselves here, when everyone else will do what I'm doing in this Grand Prix. DRS on Ocon, we couldn't. I mean, there's still enough laps left to go for my tyres to fall off, but at the minute they're at 30% wear, and I can see the points. Lando Norris, we know, has some issues with his car, or at least he did. Whether they're fixed or not, I don't know. But at the minute, we are still competitive because we have a softer tyre compound on. And because none of these guys have DRS on the other in front, at the minute, they're all there for the taking. This might be another turn 4 special. On Esteban Ocon. Might even get it done before turn 4. On DRS. Leaving racing room. And P11.
Nice move. Good job.
If you remember when we pit for the first time, we might have, no, was it pit when we pit from mediums? We were 5 seconds off Valtteri Bottas. He's currently running P9 right now and in the points, just ahead of us.
That's just 5 laps of fuel remaining.
5 laps of fuel remaining. 5 laps, or 4 laps, I think, of race remaining. 4.5. Are we going to get tantalisingly close to points on debut, or pointer on debut, and then our tyres are going to fall off? That would be soul-crushing, if that is to be the case. I think we're at that soul-crushing point when my tyres are gone so far that I'm just not competitive anymore. I can see the points, but what I can also see is Esteban Ocon getting bigger and bigger and bigger in my rearview mirror every single DRS zone. And that gap, top left, is staying above 2 seconds for the majority around the whole lap. My only chance, I think, of getting any points is if those two in front start fighting, and at the minute Lando cannot get within 2 or 3 tenths of Valtteri Bottas.
Front is 1.9 seconds.
But we very well may hold on for a P11 on debut. And Yuki Tsunoda's only a 1.5 seconds behind us. Factor in the fact that AlphaTauri were right with us at the very rock bottom of the performance index. Then a P11 for a Chesnoid Racing and a P13 for an AlphaTauri. Myself and Yuki have both had good races. And Nick De Vries is only a few seconds down the road from his teammate as well. So in race pace, it turns out that the Williams is probably slower. But in the performance index, the AlphaTauri and ourselves are the ones at the bottom. We'll see how that develops as time goes on. And we know for a fact, again, that this performance has been significantly helped by a tyre strategy that's worked really well. But as far as I'm concerned, regardless of whether we finish 11, 12 or 13, we have had an amazing debut Grand Prix. I might as well use all my battery up. Let's have one last hurrah on the final lap. Esteban Ocon is being dragged around with me, but I'm using my battery in that part of the track, actually. We've just pulled out a DRS range of Esteban Ocon. Now, if these two start fighting into turn 1 again, we might have a chance of a point.
Okay, mate, final lap.
Final lap of the race. Fuel has been stable the whole way. It might be track specific. It might be because the Mercedes engine is very economical. I'm not sure, but we put a lap's worth of extra fuel in at the beginning, and we've got a lap's worth of extra fuel at the end, and we haven't, I think for the first time ever in race 1 of my team, we haven't been lapped either. As Max Verstappen wins the Grand Prix, you won't be shocked to hear. Now it's telling me about my tyres. Yeah, they're too far gone in front. I can't catch them. I'd be more worried about Esteban Ocon behind, actually. But regardless, the fireworks are lit up for Max Verstappen. It's a Red Bull 1-2, I believe. And then Carlos Sainz coming home in P3, but that's only thanks to the DNF of George Russell. And Max at the start, if you cast your mind back, started 5th, dropped to 14th, and still won the race. I think that's as realistic as we're likely to get, isn't it? Wow, what pace from Max Verstappen. We're not expecting to challenge for ages, so by the time we get there, the relative pace of each team will be nothing like it is in real life, which might actually be a good thing by the time we reach the front end of the grid. But right now, on debut, we're going to finish P11, helped with 1, maybe 2 retirements to George Russell and Alex Albon, but we don't care. I am delighted with that. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. There's still going to be a little bit more to come, but I will at the end of the race ask you to drop the video a like if you have enjoyed. And please make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any more. Let me know all of your feedback in the comment section down below as well. And if there's a comment you agree with, leave a thumbs up on it too, so that all of the more popular opinions rise to the top of the comment section. I'd appreciate that. Really valuable feedback for me. Max Verstappen, race winner. Sergio Perez, P2. Carlos Sainz, P3. We'll show you the beginning of the podium. Something we've seen numerous times. Adrian Newey up on the podium as well to get the Constructors' Trophy. But there's Max with his Driver's Trophy. Congratulations, Senor Verstappen. I'm sure it won't be the last time he's lifting the trophy at the end of a Grand Prix. It's shaky bottle time, but there's no shaky bottling for us, so don't worry about it. And the audio that you didn't hear there for the champagne is added in for, or should be added in for launch, so don't worry about that at all. Let's see, 1:33.532 was the fastest lap from Max. We were nearly there, but again, significantly helped by tyre advantage. I am thrilled with that. We're up to team level 2, maybe even team level 3 by the time that's zipped across. It is team level 3. Let's go. I got 50 grand's worth of damage, apparently. Sorry, team. Sorry to myself. It's my bloody bank balance. Back to team headquarters to prepare for the Saudi Grand Prix. And we might have some resource points to spend. We certainly do. So let's start to spend them. And, of course, improve here if we can. Driver acclaim and resources will come in handy. Team acclaim will help. Resource points will help as well. Can I do both that and the sponsor event? I can't. I might like to get... I can't do anything else other than that. Let me remove that. Can I do... Oh, I'm going to have to do that and that, I think. Let's do that and the second driver performance. And then with the R&D, let's start to put some stuff on. I can't upgrade... Well, I can upgrade there, actually. That's passed now, which is phenomenal. Weight reduction is done. The plank is complete there on weight redistribution. Let's do the redistribution for 462. Let's do the front downforce for 500. And I don't quite have enough for the cable assembly, but we could do the engine power and the pistons, and we were slightly slow in a straight line. So I will do that, and that will significantly help us as well. And maybe by the time we get to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, we might have enough resource points to put something else on as well. The car is improving already. As a driver pace up 7 or driver awareness up 7. I'll go for pace.
Not an easy decision, but you
try and make our teammate as fast as we possibly can in these early stages. Apologies for my voice going. This is the 5th video I've recorded today, if you include all the FIFA stuff on stream earlier today as well. I will do these, the hot laps, but I'll do them off YouTube camera and I'll do them on stream. But it's only going to be some acclaim and some money. You guys aren't necessarily that bothered about seeing that, I don't believe, or I wouldn't believe. Now, it's going to take a fair bit of money to upgrade here, so I'm not sure where to upgrade first. I'll hold off for now. We don't have enough resource points, I don't think, to put anything on at this stage. Can we afford any of these? No. No. No, we're not there yet. Not to worry. We'll try and get some more resource points in practice at the Saudi Grand Prix, and that is where you will join me next time out. Thank you very much for watching today. Really hope you've enjoyed. I absolutely have, and I'll see you tomorrow.